Welcome to the Ride With Us podcast, a podcast dedicated to the Prescott Rodeo Grounds and the world's oldest rodeo. Its history, traditions, some storytelling, and all the events happening at the rodeo grounds. I'm your host, Greg Mengarelli. Today we have two ladies that I have the pleasure of working with every day, mostly a pleasure. They both play large roles at Prescott Frontier Days, so welcome in Katie Ramos and Summer Logan. Thanks for being here today, guys.
Thank you for having us.
So before we jump into our main topic, which is college rodeo, something kind of new for us at the rodeo grounds, I wanted to just allow you guys to introduce yourselves to our audience and maybe say a little something about your background and kind of how you got where you are today, and then maybe a little bit more about what you do at Prescott Frontier Days, how long you've been involved with the rodeo, maybe some of your extracurricular around rodeo. I know you guys are involved with more than just our rodeo. So, Katie, go ahead.
Well, my name is Katie Ramos, and I'm originally from Flagstaff, but I'm now a transport over here to Prescott. And I just fell in love with rodeo through actually being a rodeo queen. I was Miss Turquoise Circuit and then Miss Rodeo Arizona in 2023. And that really instilled a love for rodeo and event production within my heart, and the power that communications and social media and the individuals that put on the events have within it. And so, I grew up showing horses and wasn't really a rodeo kid, but the first time I ever, went out and had breakaway practice with my horse, it really just kind of showed me that I'd been missing a lot. And so through that, I ended up kind of transitioning over to the rodeo end of things and started breakaway roping. And I'm not saying we got it all figured out just yet, but once we get our lives figured out, hopefully the dream is to one day compete there at the Prescott Frontier Days Rodeo.
Nice. So you have a horse in town.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so she's in town. Her name's Little Miss. She's a little brown dun mare with a black dorsal stripe that goes all the way on her. And, one of my really, really good friends ended up letting me buy her from them to rodeo queen off of. And, she's carried politicians. She's carried rodeo clowns in a fat suit on her. She is, a really one in a million animal. And I couldn't be more thankful to be able to have her, with me on this journey.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Katie. Summer?
Summer Logan. I have now done this rodeo as a volunteer itself for about 18 years. Recently been working for him for 3. I was given the opportunity, Jim Dewey. I came back when I was living in Oklahoma one summer and helped the rodeo out. And he's like, what do I need to do to get you to move here to work for me? And I said, well, pay my way and I'll move back to work for you. So a couple years ago, I moved back and I started working for Jim after just being a volunteer. With the rodeo itself, I volunteered in the timed events. I started off as just a grand entry flag girl, carrying flags for years. For 12 years now, I've ridden for the picket men we have here at the rodeo, been their saddle helper, as they would politely call it. And then, given the opportunity to actually be employed with the rodeo and help with, the marketing, the front end, the back end, sponsorships, all of that, I jumped in. And so it's been pretty amazing.
A lot going on there. So what about photography? What are you doing there?
Yeah, so I actually a month ago just put in to try and obtain my PRCA photography permit, which is a huge process. You've got to have letters of recommendation. You've got to submit a permit to a board with the PRCA, and they evaluate it. It doesn't matter how much money I've spent the last couple years on gear or traveling. It all comes down to whether they think I'm good enough to represent the PRCA as a photographer. So I'm waiting to hear back from that.
Yeah, well, good luck on that. I know it's not easy to get done. I think our listeners really probably don't have any grasp of what it takes to get a PRCA card.
Yeah.
But good luck with that. And it's good to have both of you here. It's kind of appropriate this year, I feel like, because this is the year of women in rodeo for our world's oldest rodeo.
Yep.
And so I think it's good for our listeners to have a little flavor from you guys. And so thanks again for coming in. Well, your main mission here today was to talk about the college rodeo we have coming up. And want to get into that, something totally new, something that we need to make sure our listeners know all about because it is brand new. We've talked on here before when we had Jim Dewey Brown in, and it's been a while. Jim is the commissioner of college rodeo. That means he's in charge of all college rodeo across the nation, which is a big deal. We're fortunate to have him as a part of our rodeo here locally and have him represent us while he's doing college rodeo. Anyway, he had the ability to bring a college rodeo to Prescott, Arizona, and it's the Grand Canyon Regional Finale.
Correct. Yes.
Right. So give us kind of the headlines of what this is about coming up here in May. Don't fight over it.
So on May 2nd and 3rd, we're going to be hosting the Grand Canyon Regional Finale. So there's colleges all across Arizona and New Mexico that, similar to how the NCAA does it with basketball, volleyball, football, they do it for college rodeo contestants. So these kids can get out of high school rodeo and go on and pursue an education, all while still competing in rodeo. And this truly just facilitates the future of rodeo because these kids, some of them, they move on to the NFR. Some of them are already at the National Finals Rodeo, which is our Super Bowl of rodeo. And so it's very, very important to be able to, help with this growth in this stage that they're in right now, because this is the moment where some of these kids not only are going to go off and to be professional athletes within the sport of rodeo, but they're going to be the movers and shakers of the industry. They're going to be determining rules. They're determining marketing, advertising, the jeans that we all wear. They're the ones that will be eventually behind that. And so not only are programs like these and events like the Grand Canyon Regional Finale, motivating that and helping these kids in their college rodeo steps, but it's also helping them in their life steps and the future of rodeo steps.
Very good. So Grand Canyon is Arizona, New Mexico. That's where all the athletes will be coming from?
Correct. Yes. So within the NIRA, that's the National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association, there's 11 different regions of schools, and they partner up with different states. So with us, you've got Arizona and New Mexico. And within that, we're considered the Grand Canyon region. It's comprised of 8 different colleges. And so, so kids will be coming from just our region, from New Mexico and Arizona, to compete at this finale.
So they're trying to get to the national finals.
Right, the CNFR, the College National Finals Rodeo.
Which is in June.
Yep, in Casper, Wyoming.
So this is kind of their last shot, hopefully, of qualifying. So talk a little bit about what it takes to qualify, how many qualify per event, what events are we going to be seeing on May 2nd and 3rd?
So to qualify for the CNFR, they take the top 3 students or top 3 athletes from each event. So you're going to have all the normal events you have during a regular rodeo: the breakaway, the barrel racing, tie down, steer wrestling, bull riding, saddle broncs, barebacks.
Goat tying.
Yeah, goat tying. Goat tying is the one you don't see in the NFR and such. That ends after college rodeo. Goat tying consists of an athlete riding a horse, hauling after a goat, and there's a goat staked to the ground and someone's holding it. And then the athlete will jump off their horse, run to the goat, and they've got to flank it and tie it, and it's got to stay tied. So that is one that's going to be added to this. So for the CNFR, in each event, in each region, they take the top 3 kids from each region, and then each region also has a men's team and a women's team, and they take the top 2 teams from each region as well.
Okay.
So you've got to be high up in there in points. It's a point system. You've got to have some major points in order to qualify for the CNFR.
Yeah. So a couple differences from what we see with the PRCA rodeo we have in over the 4th of July is the goat tying is a different event.
Mm-hmm.
We won't see the wild horse race or maybe some of the specialty type acts that we normally see with our rodeo. But then you talk about points, Summer. So instead of following money, which we do with the PRCA to get to the NFR, National Finals Rodeo, you get points. So I guess this is the last opportunity they have to get points before going to Casper.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for some of these students, some of them, they're in their senior year and they're about to go off and graduate and move on, kind of in different directions in life. So for some of these seniors, this might be a make or break moment when, they use these points to be able to qualify for the college national finals, or, this is their last rodeo wearing that vest of their school and wearing that their team that's looked up to them for the past 3.5 years.
Yeah. So for spectators out there that are interested, give us some details around tickets, when are the performances, that kind of thing.
So performances will be both nights, May 2nd and 3rd at 6 o'clock. We're going to have gates open at 4. We do have vendors coming in. We've got food vendors, boutique vendors. We've got a good solid list of ones coming in for that. Tickets for kids 12 and under are only $5. And then we've also got adults only 10. So it's a really good family affordable event. It's just general admission, no assigned seating, buy a ticket and go sit wherever you'd like. If you want to go sit in one of our boxes that are normally saved for sponsors during rodeo week, you can go enjoy the boxes, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got some vendors, some permanent jewelry vendors coming in, some really good food, pizza vendors, barbecue vendors going on as well.
Okay. So yeah, it does make sense to get there kind of early, then around 4 or 5 o'clock, so you can
Yeah.
get a good seat
Mhm.
right in the center of the arena. Where do we get tickets? What websites?
You can get them online. So if you go onto the world's oldest rodeo page, we do have a link to our college rodeo tickets on there. And then that will bring you straight to the page that we use for all of our rodeo tickets on rodeoticket.com, and you'll be able to purchase them through there. But they will also be available that day at the gate
Day
as
of.
well.
Okay. Well, very good. How many contestants would you say per event? Roughly. I know that bareback typically is a little lighter, but
Mhm.
are we going to see 8 to 10 contestants per event?
Yeah, so it looks pretty full. We've U of A, University of Arizona, just had their rodeo last weekend in Tucson, and we looked at their numbers. And then is it Casa Grande has theirs coming up?
Yep.
They've
Mhm.
got a full roster, but yeah, almost every event's full with 10 kids competing in each. We'll have the slack performance Saturday morning at 9 a.m. for any of our true rodeo fans. That's going to consist of probably 50 to 70, in a
Mhm.
lot of those timed events areas, just trying to catch up in slack. But otherwise, it's going to be a full roster for our college kids competing.
Yep. So for those of you that don't know, Summer's talking about slack. Slack is kind of like an extra rodeo for the contestants. We can't get into the performance.
Mhm.
Then they get their timed events in, or even some rough stock, I'm assuming, possibly Saturday morning. Is that
No, it's normally
just
this should
timed
just be
events?
timed events.
Yeah.
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 So anyway, Saturday, 9 a.m.,
Mhm.
you could come out and watch some more rodeo if you'd like. No tickets needed there. So you mentioned U of A.
Mhm.
Do you guys, off the top of your head, give us some flavor of Arizona schools that will be participating?
Yeah. So we've got New Mexico State University, who's going to be
Mhm.
coming from way down south in New Mexico.
Mhm.
And then, Eastern New Mexico University, Mesa Lands. We have Dene College from up in the reservation. We also have University of Arizona, Central Arizona College. And then who else
We've
am I
also
forgetting?
got Cochise.
Cochise too. And then there's also some students that go to college that don't have a team, but they're able to compete individually. So
Okay.
there is a young man that competes with the Northern Arizona University as well. Not Northern Arizona. Yes, Northern Arizona University. And he competes in rodeo as well. So, being able to have those individual students come and kind of hang out with these bigger teams is a great opportunity for connections as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So it seems like the rodeos kind of run with the semester, right? Like this is the last one in May where they're kind of
Mhm.
finishing up school. And then the finals would be in summer after the semester's over.
Yeah, the college national finals will be a month after our rodeo. So that's why we're calling it the finale, because it is, their last try to make it and qualify for
Yeah.
that event.
So tell us a little bit about Casper, the national finals.
So the national finals up in Casper, Wyoming, Jim Dewey Brown, he runs that. Like I said, they take the top 2 kids out of each event and they go up there and they compete. I'm not sure how many rounds they have. 3 and a short go, I believe.
Yes, it's 3 and a short.
Okay.
And then from there, like I said, that could be the end of their rodeoing, and some of them are going to go to the NFR and continue on, or that could be the end of the road for them. So
Yeah.
it's a big deal.
Yeah. You may come out to our rodeo for the Grand Canyon Regional Final
Mm-hmm.
and kind of get hooked. And it's good to know that you could go to Casper, Wyoming and catch the finals, which isn't all that far for us here in Prescott. So I wanted to talk a little bit about sponsors.
Yeah.
So you guys are working at getting sponsors for the rodeo. Tell me how that's going. What are the details? So maybe we might, catch somebody here on the podcast that might be interested.
Yeah. So, sponsors, it's funny when Jim approached us, he walked out and he looked at Katie and I and he's like, I can put a rodeo on in my sleep. I'm going to let you girls handle this college rodeo. So we're like, all right, all hands on deck. We got this. So sponsoring our rodeo, this smaller one, we do have sponsorships that range from $500 up to $10,000. We know it's a first time rodeo, but with the strong backbone of having Jim Dewey watching this and helping us out, we know it's going to be a great opportunity. So we do have a bunch of different sponsorship opportunities available with just different levels. You're still going to get the arena wrap like we have in our big rodeo, announcer recognition. We're making a program as well for this, a rodeo program. So, social media recognition, we do have sponsorship opportunities available. We know it's kind of late in the year, but, we honor, we rodeo, we give. That's a huge part of the world's oldest rodeo in itself. And, considering we already host the Arizona Junior Finals here at our rodeo grounds, we host the Arizona High School Finals at our rodeo grounds, and our world's oldest rodeo, we had all ages besides college. So being able to add in college to this has been huge because now we've got all age demographics. And so I think sponsoring this event and just knowing that these are local kids that are going to, make it to the top or do something different, just, whatever they please. I think it's a great opportunity to sponsor them.
Yeah. Well, good enough. So we may have some folks out there that have businesses that would love to sponsor this rodeo. How would they connect with you guys? What's the best way for them to get some more information?
Reach out to us. We both work right there at the Prescott Frontier Days rodeo office. You open up the doors, you're either going to see her, me, or both of us at the same time. So reach out to us. We do also, we have an email as well. It's, hold on, let me see. I got to make sure I don't say the wrong thing here.
It's on there. It's,
Grand Canyon GC Regional at worldsoldestrodeo.com, which is kind of a mouthful, but just GC for Grand Canyon and then regional finale at worldsoldestrodeo.com. But the best way is probably just calling into the World's Oldest Rodeo office and you'll get one of us on the phone. And if you have any questions or anything like that, we are more than happy to answer and, help you out and learn a little bit more.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I think, of businesses out there that maybe haven't sponsored the World's Oldest Rodeo, this could be a great way to kind of get started and build a relationship with our college rodeo to start with, and then maybe they could do that and the World's Oldest Rodeo. But please get a hold of Katie and Summer. We certainly need a little help here at the end to sponsor the college rodeo. What did I miss here? Anything else?
I think something huge to put in there is, so, for instance, our stock contractors, I think it's amazing to see how much faith they have in our college kids. Our main rough stock contractor is Kirsten Vold. And as anybody knows who Kirsten Vold is, she does the NFR every year. She does our World Oldest Rodeo. Her family history in the rodeo industry has been here for a long time. So her bringing some animals in. We've got Cody Reeser, who's bringing bulls from down south, Trey Nargain. We've got a lot of local stock contractors we're using, but it's nice to see that, these PRCA stock contractors are so willing to help out college kids and give them good animals to compete on to further them in their career. So I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah, and there is so much faith put behind the entire college rodeo program, coming from a completely outside source where horse showing wasn't super big when I was looking at colleges and school. And so to see how much faith that, the current adults and the current leaders of rodeo put into, these kids and, not even just making sure they're educated, but making sure they're just well-rounded individuals. And, they walk into a room and they go, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. They shake hands and, instilling those values in young adults is becoming less and less common nowadays, unfortunately. And so to watch an industry that believes in their youth as passionately as it does, it really is inspiring. And it's such an honor to be able to, maybe one day put our names behind something like that and know that we were part of the generation of young adults that were raised by others who had so much faith in us, like Jim Dewey Brown.
Yeah. Katie, that makes me think with a sponsor that it's not really just about marketing and advertisement. It's an investment in the future and in this younger generation. So well said. I was thinking earlier when we were talking about some of the folks, Summer, you said might go on to the PRCA and get a PRCA card. Are there contestants, student athletes that are competing in college rodeo that also have a PRCA card now?
Most of them.
Yeah, there's a
Okay.
lot,
Okay.
once you're of age, you can do that. I mean, we've got I know some saddle bronc riders coming, some bull riders and stuff that they've got their card and, we've seen him compete at our turquoise circuit finals.
Mhm.
Zach Dallas, he made it to the NFR this last year and he was just a college student. And so it's cool too, because Jim Dewey, he used to coach at NMSU and he's gotten to see his college kids go from
Mhm.
college to the NFR now. And just to be able to see him compete from those grounds there to now ours in Prescott, it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that kind of gives our listeners an idea of the kind of caliber of contestants they're going to
Mm-hmm.
see. Is that many of these student athletes are already competing
Yeah.
in the PRCA and have maybe even been to the national finals rodeo. So we're going to see some really good talent out there, and it's a great rodeo. It's a great addition to what we already have to offer, and kind of
Mhm.
fills in that gap, Summer, as you were talking about,
Yeah.
with juniors and high school and now college and our PRCA rodeo. We were talking about tickets, so I want to make sure, I always try to do this every podcast. You guys tell our listeners, when do tickets go on sale for the world's oldest rodeo, and where do I get those tickets, or where do I not get those tickets?
Yeah. So tickets for our world's oldest rodeo are going on sale March 17th. The only website you can get them through is rodeoticket.com. Your safest route is to go through our own website, worldsoldestrodeo.com. There are several different ticket scammers and scalpers out there already. Unfortunately, we won't honor them because, our prices stay true to what families can afford, especially in this
Mhm.
economy. So just make sure it's, worldsoldestrodeo.com. And yeah, March 17th, give our ticket ladies a little bit of grace. It sounds like they're going to be pretty swamped that day. So don't be afraid to go online. They will be in the office from 10 to 3. But yeah, go online if you can. If you call in, just know, like I said, I'm sure they're swamped. We have several ladies going to be in that day, but it's a busy day for us in the office.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I just knew with this podcast going out that ticket sales would be starting up, so
Yeah.
people would want to know about that, and make sure you don't wait to get your tickets. We've been sold out 3 rodeos in the
Mhm.
past here recently, and so make sure you get those tickets here in March or April.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. This is Katie's fault because she mentioned something about a politician riding her horse and some inflatable clown thing. I want to hear a story, maybe something funny, something meaningful that has impacted you during rodeo. So it could be funny, or it could be, kind of very, very meaningful. Do you have a story for me?
Oh
For
man,
our
I mean,
listeners?
I have one funny story that I will never live down with rodeo. Rodeo itself has been meaningful to me because not being close with my family, this rodeo has always been my family. I mean,
Mhm.
Kirsten Vold
Mhm.
has watched me grow up, and you and your family have been amazing. But I'll never forget the most embarrassing thing I ever did was 2 years ago now. I walk into our pickup man's camp, Ty Atchison, Dalton Ward. We're all sitting there
Mhm.
hanging out after rodeo, and I had a few of age, but I put my hat on backwards. And you don't do that in the rodeo industry. And I thought they were kidding. Everyone's like, oh, Summer, great hat, I'm like, oh, thanks. And I just flick it and I go about my business. And I mean, I'm like in front of like PRCA contestants, stock contractors, men I think are hot. Like it was the most embarrassing thing I think I've ever done. And then they're like, no, Summer, your hat's on backwards.
Oh.
And I mean, it's a funny story that I now laugh at because now every year during rodeo week, everyone, like, as soon as I walk into camp, they put their hats on backwards and make fun of me. But we can all joke around, and that's when I love to, rodeo is such a family-driven
Mhm.
community that you can stay in touch year-round, or you can stay in touch during those 7 days, 8 performances, and it's like you never left each other.
Yeah.
So, and you can sit there and help each other out. And I've learned a lot from these boys and
Mhm.
riding from them and just everyone in the back of these corrals and such. So
Mhm.
it's been amazing.
Yeah, it is interesting, Summer. It's this weird dynamic that happens this one week at the
Mhm.
rodeo, and spectators don't really get to see that side behind the
Mhm.
chutes, if you will, where you just pick up where you left off a year ago.
Yep.
In many cases, I talk to, especially Dalton a lot throughout the year, but it's just wild how a lot of these relationships just continue,
Mhm.
even though maybe you haven't talked to them for several months.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
they're, like you said, family. So do you ever like now kind of like, okay, yeah, that's.
Oh, you'll
yeah.
see me go like this. I'm sorry, especially rodeo week.
So that's why you do that.
Yeah, I can't believe I did that after how many years of riding for them. It was, of course, it's like the people who are your idols you look up to, you do
Sure.
it in front of. But
Sure.
like I said, we can all laugh and jab at each other now. But yeah, it's
That's funny.
an incredible experience.
Yeah, that's good. Katie, what do you got?
Oh gosh, I thought I was off the hook.
No.
It can't get worse than mine.
Oh golly. Oh. Well, in rodeo queening, a lot of it is very pretty and polished.
Sure.
And when things go wrong, you can't really let it on to anybody that things are going very wrong.
Sure.
And it was my first rodeo ever as Miss Rodeo Arizona, and it was at the Denver National Western. Well, my friend, she had me jump on one of the horses they were riding there, one of these big black horses that they have at the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. So I jump on him and she goes, "Hey, you're going to be doing the opening flag. I want you to let you know when you go in, it's a black house." And so a black house means you go into this stadium completely black. There's not
Got
a
it.
light. There's nothing on. All you see are the little security lights that come down
Wow.
the stairs from people. And I go, "Okay, sounds good." And then she goes, "Oh, and by the way, this horse hasn't wanted to go into an arena since the national finals." And I'm going, "Oh, okay. Well, alrighty,
over a
sounds
month.
good." So I jump on this horse. We warm up. We kind of go through the motions because as rodeo queens, you can't bring your horse in your carry-on, unfortunately. So you get to ride everybody else's. So we're warming up. Finally, time comes. We're standing there getting ready to go. And the stock contractor at the time comes up to me and he goes, "You get that horse in the arena." And I look at him and I go, "Yes, sir. Sounds good." Well, I get the okay. I go, I kick this horse in. Little did I know, at the same exact time that I turned right to go into the arena, inside the arena, right as the spotlight hits, the poor rodeo clown was rolling out his barrel.
Oh no.
There was about, from me to you, Summer, distance between me and this poor rodeo clown. And all you hear is him go, "Oh no." The announcer go, "Whoa." And me go, "Oh no." I'd missed him, but I kind of grabbed this horse and pushed it over, and we went around and did our lap. And afterwards, we kept laughing because somebody goes, "Wow, that timing was absolutely perfect. How did you do that?" And he came out right afterwards. I'm going, "Never mind that I almost just leveled this poor kid, but thanks." But
Wow.
yeah, so that's, just like rodeo, it seems like it's controlled chaos, and sometimes it definitely is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great stories behind the bucking chutes, like you said, that spectators don't get to see, but we get to experience and live.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, amazing. Well, ladies, thanks for being with us today. Just want to leave our listeners with College Rodeo Grand Canyon Regional Finale, which
Yep.
is May 2nd, 3rd. Tickets they can find on worldsoldestrodeo.com
Yep.
or rodeotickets.com. Is that right?
rodeo ticket. So yeah,
Rodeo Ticket.
there's actually a fake website with an S at the end. So same thing, safest thing, go through worldsoldestrodeo.com or reach out to us if you have any questions. But yeah, I mean, for that, it's $5 or $10. If you see a ticket more than that, it's a scammer.
Well, thanks for your time. Thanks for joining us today on the Ride With Us podcast. Appreciate you guys, both of you,
Well, thank you.
and everything you do for Prescott Frontier Days and College Rodeo and everything else there at the rodeo grounds. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning
having
in
us.
to the Ride With Us podcast. We'll see you next time.